Time, Pericles said the secret of democracy is courage. Same with ours. And here's a courageous leader, Senator Jim Inhofe, ranking member, Senate Committee on the Environment and Public Works. Good morning, Senator.
Well, good morning, Bill.
Thanks so much for joining us. How are you getting to Copenhagen? Where, are you going by Longhorn or horse and carriage? We don't want your carbon footprint.
No, we're going to sail over. Of course, it's going to take a little lead time. I'm sure Harry Reid's going to allow that to happen, but we'll do our best.
All right. I told you about this story about all the limos and private planes. It really is kind of a joke if it weren't serious.
Al Gore's been flying around one person in a pretty big plane for a long time.
This
whole thing over there
Go ahead.
is somewhat of a joke, though, Bill, because they're all in denial. They're all in denial, and the people call me. The outrage exceeds what it was 7 or 8 years ago, because they now see that this isn't going to work, and the people have caught on. And the poll, I don't have it in front of me, but I think 59% on a Rasmussen poll said that they falsified the data on the big scandal, and 22% it was reliable. That's 3 to 1. You don't get that very often.
This was a real moment, wasn't it, this Climate Gate? I mean, this validated everything you've been saying. What was the speech you gave 3 years ago, 4 years ago?
It was 4 years ago, Bill. And, well, first of all, my first exposure to this was 8 years ago when I chaired that committee. And at that time, it looked like a foregone conclusion. We were going to have some kind of a cap-and-trade thing, and until... I'm thankful that the Wharton School came out and said how much this is going to cost, so it gave us something new to talk about. Anyway, the scientists started coming to me who were left out of the IPCC process, and I think it's important for our listeners to remember that's the United Nations. So a lot of the stuff that comes out of there, we have to fight, and that's what this is. And so they had a process, but the scientists who didn't agree with their conclusions before the science started were excluded from the process. So they came to me, a lot of them, since I was making some noise at that time. And so on 4 years ago, about 4 years ago, and it's on my website, inhofe.senate.gov, if anyone would like to see it.
Sure.
I gave a talk just on science, showing how the science had been cooked, and within the scientists by name coming to me, and these are all recognized scientists. So anyway, when this thing, I really felt that ClimateGate and all that coming out was kind of redemption for me.
Yeah, no, of course. Tell us, can you talk about who else is going, or do you not want to do that?
Yeah, I can do that. There are 2 senators who will be going with me, and 1 House member. The 2 senators are Barrasso from Wyoming.
John Barrasso.
Very, very outspoken. He's a godsend on that committee.
Yeah, he's terrific. We went up and had lunch with him. He bought me lunch, Senator.
Well, you said that last time we interviewed.
Yeah, I know.
And it's coming. It's coming.
Okay, yeah, it sounds like my wife, my favorite meal. Yeah, soon. Wait.
And
Go ahead.
Roger Wicker and Phil Miller from the House will be coming.
Okay.
Pretty outspoken, too.
Are you satisfied with the kind of forum that you're going to get? Are you going to be treated well and fairly? Are you going to get your chance?
Oh, we will. It's not set up where there's one convention hall. There are places where they have events that are taking place. I want ours to be, and keep in mind, as I mentioned to you before, I was planning to go over anyway to talk to some of our troops that were in the hospital over there, and around Christmas time and
great.
Everything. So we're going to do that at the same time. We will time this so that it'll be right after Barack Obama, President Obama, goes over and makes his speech. And the reason for that is it should be, if he goes over, he's going to make the statement that we will commit in the United States to reducing our CO2 levels by 17%, I think it is, by 2020. That's essentially what was in the House bill. I've had several interviews in Western Europe, and they all assume that's going to happen because the president said so. I think it's dishonest because we do have a third branch of government, and they have to pass on this, and we're not going to do it in the legislature.
Yeah.
And every day, more Democrats. Byron Dorgan yesterday came over, and Jim Webb has been very critical of the president and going over and making that speech. So I think the forum, as you asked, will be one of 3 or 4 halls that they will reserve for me, and then we'll have some of the scientists that will be over there who have been frustrated for the last 8 years, also just giving talks to give our side. So that's what we look forward to. And I think the main thing I have to do is clarify the fact that don't get your hopes up. This isn't going to happen. I know you think it is, but it's not going to happen in the United States.
Okay. The argument seems to be, even I was watching, some of the mainstream media. They're saying, all right, we're taking the ClimateGate stuff seriously. It's very bad. People shouldn't do this. But this hasn't changed the consensus opinion of most scientists about global warming.
Well, no, it hasn't, and there is no consensus opinion. The consensus opinion only takes place in the IPCC, which is the United Nations. And they keep coming up for these. They have reviews for policy makers. These are not scientists. These are politicians within the IPCC that come up with these reviews, and that's what the media gets their hands on. And so when you stop and you think about the really top scientists, Richard Lindzen from MIT is recognized as one of the tops. And he's pretty outraged because, well, his outrage is kind of aimed toward Al Gore, that he's made millions and millions, hundreds of millions of dollars on this thing, and he's manipulated this stuff for personal gain. I mean, these are scientists talking. I think on the one thing I'd like to clear up,
please,
for the purpose of this interview is some of the misunderstanding on the ClimateGate thing that's taking place.
Yes.
They're trying to act like it's not there, and they're in denial. You know, when I was sitting next to Barbara Boxer when this thing first started, she just said, well, the real investigation is going to be a criminal investigation, how they got the information. First of all, we don't know that it's hacked. We don't know how that information came out. But if you take the other side, George Monboy is The Guardian. He's an environmental activist. That's a big magazine, very green. He said, pretending this is not a real crisis isn't going to make it go away.
Good.
Clive Cook with the Atlantic Monthly said the stink of intellectual corruption is overpowering. But listen to this. This is a UK.
That's very interesting.
The UK Telegraph said that's
Yep.
well respected. This is the worst scientific scandal of our generation.
Really?
Pretty big stuff.
That is big stuff. That's enormous. That's enormous stuff.
I did an interview with the Financial Times over there, and they're pretty liberal over in UK. And they said in their editorial afterwards that secrecy is at the rotten heart of this bad behavior. So I think they may say that it's going to go away, act like it's not there. But what else can they do, Bill? They can't do anything else because it is there and there is no logical response to it.
Has this had no impact on the White House, on the president, on his team? It doesn't seem that they're acknowledging this at all.
This is what I think, and just again, it's just a personal opinion. He's taken a lot of hits from the far left because of the Afghanistan position.
Yeah.
And I think he's trying to, going out of his way to throw some sop to him. I think at the same time, he came over to the Hill yesterday and met the Democrats only. And while no one else has the same opinion, my opinion is he's saying to them, look, there are 60 of you in this room. We can pass something. Find something that 60 can agree with. And, you're talking about do something on the abortion thing, do something on the government option. And I think that this may shorten up. I'm hoping it will, because I've got a bunch of 20 kids and grandkids that want to spend Christmas preparation with me.
Yeah.
That might be what will happen here in the next few days.
Well, that'll be very interesting. Listen, I just want to say we are so grateful for your leadership, proud of what you're doing. Want to talk to you again whenever you want. If you can call us from over there, you got 3.5 million listeners here. So
I know that, and I'll definitely do it, Bill. Sure will.
We thank you for your leadership. Thanks for being right then and right now, and letting them know. And thanks for standing up for us.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate it. That's really, really good. I think this thing has made an impact, has made a difference. And when they go over there, we'll see. I've been to so many academic conferences and meetings, where you think you're going to get, main billing and you don't. You're shun it off into some side room. But Senator seems pretty confident that he and Barrasso, Wicker, Miller, et cetera, are going to get this. So fine, but they've already had an enormous impact, especially Jim Inhofe. Good, thank you. I want to go now to